more and more music is being used in more and more places, so
Hmm.
it's a fun time.
It's a wild world we got
Yeah,
going on here, but
yeah.
it's really fun for sure. Hi everyone, I'm Lexi Jackson. In this episode, we talk about how the Sync Center got its start and how they can help you get yours. We also cover some of the mistakes that filmmakers and rights owners tend to make when starting their journeys in sync. Hi everyone, I'm Lexi Jackson. I'm here with the Sync Center as a Sync associate with them. I am actually here as a part of the help desk, and we are really excited to have a great conversation
Hmm.
today. We are here to help, whether that be for the individuals who are filmmakers, producers, singer-songwriters, ad executives, sync licensing professionals, everybody in between. We are here to help you.
Hmm.
So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our gentleman of the evening who will be here
Hmm.
to help us out and give us his input, our lovely John Pashada.
Hello.
Um, he is actually here. He's going to be answering some questions for us. And speaking of questions, please don't forget to drop your questions or anything that you would like us to cover in the comments below. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit the like button and whatever other buttons are down there, depending on where you're watching this. We definitely like the feedback and we love to understand more about what those who are watching our videos like to hear from us. So, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You ready, John?
Ready?
Awesome. All right. So, you work at the Sync Center. Can you let us know a little
Yeah,
bit more about the Sync Center and how you got started there?
sure. So the Sync Center is a full-service music supervision and licensing agency. We work with first-time filmmakers all the way up to Super Bowl ads and theatrical releases. We help people manage their music for their projects. So that's kind of what the Sync Center is, and I guess
Hmm.
how what was the second part of that, Lexi?
Oh, just how you got started there.
Yeah,
So your personal start.
yeah. So personally, for me, it's kind of a funny story. We started as really just a production company,
Okay.
and what that means for maybe some of us that don't know, we would make records every 3 months. We would make a record for a different artist or a band, and
Hmm.
we would write the record, we would record the record, and mix the record. This was back in the '90s, um, and we really kind of kept a high bar on songs. So if we were going to cut 10 songs, we would write 80 songs, and really cut
Hmm.
those
The good
best,
one.
the good.
Yeah.
What we
Yeah, for
we
sure.
we loved keeping bad songs off good records, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so we had a great time. We did that for almost 11 years, and we took artists to Warner Brothers and signed them there. We won some awards. We won an
Oh
American
wow.
Music Award, nominated for Song of the Year and Video of the Year awards, and
Wow.
that grew into a joint venture with Garth Brooks' company. And so that's kind of how we started. And as far as
Hmm.
Sync, we started in Sync. Originally, our first toe in the water was with a show called Dawson's Creek. If I don't know,
Oh wow. I didn't know that. That's cool.
yeah, yeah, and this was back in the MySpace days.
Yep, I remember those days.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes I want to like go back to MySpace and see who's there. If Tom's
They
still,
revamped. They bought it back.
did they really?
Um, yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's called like something else now,
is
but
it
it's
really?
it's it's kicking.
Good, good, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well.
so I mean, starting with Dawson's Creek, a friend of ours now was the music supervisor for Dawson's Creek, and that was our first real toe in the water for Sync, and we were like, wow, that's kind of cool. You mean like this song on a hard drive that was sitting there collecting dust? You mean we get to make
Yeah, it can do work
money
for us.
off it again? And I was like,
Hmm.
wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, for sure.
So that was like, oh wow, that was kind of the light bulb that went off for us. And John
Hmm.
McCullough, it was the supervisor, and he's, you know, I really, he was a mentor of mine, and it was really about building that relationship with John.
Mm-hmm.
He did the supervision for Dawson's Creek, Party of Five, The Wonder Years, Tracy Morgan Show,
Mm-hmm.
the '70s Show. He's like
That's cool.
one of the OGs for
Yeah.
in music supervision, and he's a good
Hmm.
friend. And but it was really more about building the relationship with him and kind of learning from him than
Yeah.
just the quick money, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
You
for
know.
sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah, that was kind of our first license there, and then kind of how it started. A friend of mine who runs general licensing at BMI here in Nashville, we'd meet for lunch every a couple times a year, meet for Thai food and catch up, and he would ask us, hey, we have all these filmmakers calling, can we send them your way? And I
Mm.
was like, well, sure. I don't know how we could help him because then we were just producing music. But so that happened for like 18 months, almost 2 years, where BMI would send us people, and as we'd have
Wow.
time, we'd talk to them, and these are like, okay, I'm a filmmaker, and I I need help with my film. Like I don't know how the music works. I need help
Mhm.
replacing it or
Mhm.
licensing the music. They were like hitting their head on the
Yeah, it's
table.
complicated.
Yeah,
It can be really complicated if you don't know what you're doing. You don't have anyone
yeah,
to guide you through that process for sure.
100%. And these are people that were trying to do the right thing. Like they
Mhm.
were trying to pay for music, trying to handle it legally, and they were just frustrated, pulling their hair out, trying to figure out the process. So
Mhm.
after about 2 years of that, we were like, well, heck, maybe, you know, I think we can help. I think we can help them do this. So that was kind of our first. That was what
Yeah.
11 years ago
Oh, wow. That's
when
awesome.
the Sync Center officially started. So helping them with budgets, music replacement, sync licensing,
Mhm.
creating new music. All those different pieces go into it.
Mhm.
So yeah, we really kind of started helping people fix a pain point. Like
Mm. Yeah.
if you're Microsoft, you have to use your music legally. You can't not use
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
bad for Microsoft.
There will be ramifications for
So
sure.
so yeah, that's kind of how we started originally, and we're having a great time.
Yeah.
Now we're able to help filmmakers, ad executives, manage all up and down the food chain. So even if you're like a first time filmmaker, we work with first time filmmakers on up to, you know, Showtime and HBO and Super Bowl
Mhm.
ads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have like a really wide range of people that you're willing to help out, and that's really great. Like, I think that having that wide range of people that you're willing to help and that you're there to help for, like
Mm-hmm.
that is a really special thing, especially in times like these where people, they need the help, and the internet is great. Like I mentioned in the last episode, the internet's great, but it's a vast place, and
Yeah.
so knowing
Yeah.
that you're getting that good information is definitely a really great resource.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. And it's funny because more and more, it's like every day there's a new channel or new distribution destination for music. Like
Hmm. Oh yeah,
we
yeah.
just finished original content for AT&T. So a couple years ago, AT&T was just this,
Cell phones.
and
Yeah.
now they're creating original content for AT&T or for Roku. So
Hmm.
more and more music is being used in more and more places. So
Hmm.
it's a fun time.
It's a wild world we got
Yeah,
going on here, but
yeah.
it's really fun for sure. I am the TV plug. Like I have like every streaming service known to people right now.
We're
Like
get
I make sure that I am like aside from like Apple TV, I think that's like the only one that I don't have.
us
But
too. I I don't know why, but
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. But okay, well, thank you so much for going into detail about that. I learned a lot just in you explaining that, so that was really cool to hear from you.
sure.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you was, in your opinion, for the people who are just getting started,
Yeah.
whether that be they're getting started in sync or they're getting started in music for television, but they aren't necessarily sure that they want to go the route of sync. Like, what are some things that they should know getting started about the process, about what is needed from them, about paperwork or anything like
Yeah.
that? Like, what do you think they need to know if they're just getting started?
Gosh, that's a big one. You know, and this may end up being its own episode, Lexi, but just off the top, I think there are some things that people miss, and we kind of have to answer this from the rights holder side
Hmm.
and then the supervisor side, because everybody's a filmmaker now, so
Yeah.
we have to answer that from the supervisor side, and then everybody's a creator, a music producer now. So
Hmm. Hmm.
taking it from the producer side first, maybe. I think some things that are really helpful for producers and music owners and rights holders is really, first off, understanding where your content falls in the hierarchy of
Mm.
content.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
Sony is Sony because they have the songs we all know and grew up on and care about, and music filmmakers want in their film.
Mhm.
And then on down, if you and I created a song right now and we called it, Lexi's Blues Jam, that's down here at the bottom. Like, nobody
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cares
No
about
shame.
Lexi's Blues Jam yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It could turn into that super song,
Blow up.
but
Yeah.
but as of today, it's down market. So you really have to kind of understand and own where your music is in the
Yeah.
market.
Your
And
space and where you are
yeah,
in everything.
and you have to believe in your music, but you don't get to say, okay, my music's worth 50 grand, or Lexi's Blues Jam is worth 50 grand today. It may be worth
Mhm.
that next year, but as
Right.
of today, so understanding like the food chain of content
Mhm.
is
Having
important.
that perspective and
Yeah,
understanding where
yeah.
you fit.
Because if you
And
if you get an opportunity to use your music in a project, you don't want to lose that deal. Like,
right.
just having your music in there is more valuable
Mhm.
for you
Then
than saying, "Oh, I'm not taking anything less than 50 grand." It's like,
yeah. Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I mean, all right. Yeah.
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 So that's a big part of it, and I think something that a lot of musicians kind of miss the value of the
Mm.
catalog.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I guess the second part of that would be build relationships. Relationships are everything.
Mm.
Like,
Mhm.
there's not, it's a small world, in the sync world. So people want to work with people they like and respect, and
Mhm.
people show
Mhm.
up and they finish their projects and they put points on the board, right?
Right, they have more of an incentive if they like you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's, I think a lot of people think about transactions more than the
Mm.
relationships. And
Yeah, yeah.
and for us, it's really like, how can we help you? I think what we realized is that we love helping people fix problems.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like a plumber. If your house is flooding, you need to get a plumber in there, like
Mhm.
ASAP.
Mhm.
So, in a sense, the Sync Center is kind of like a plumber. You know,
Mhm.
when your film is going to Showtime and you've got all these open loops,
Mhm.
you you got to call that plumber and say, "Hey,
Right, you need somebody to close some things
we
up
need
and
we
some
need we
finish some
need
loops for you.
an
Yeah.
expert here who's done this 2,000 times more than we have."
Right, right.
So that's a big thing. Relationships are everything.
Mhm.
And then I tell people too, it's like when we have people, we have people call saying, "Hey, I want to intern with you or whatever." I always tell those students, find somebody who's working in the real world, work on a project, and kind of
Mhm.
apprentice under them,
Mhm.
rather
Mhm.
than you know getting online and reading a lot of blogs about sync from people who.
Just barely know what they're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
get work in a real world project, you
Mhm.
know, and you're light years ahead of where you were just getting on, watching YouTube or
Yeah.
reading
Yeah.
blogs. So those are a couple things from the rights holder side,
Mhm.
and I think too one more. I mean, for rights holders, there's so many films being made now.
Mhm.
If you can't find a filmmaker at a film festival and say, "Hey, I'm like you. I'm just starting out, and I want to help you with your film. Let me do the music for it, or here's 5 songs that you can license in your film for free."
Mhm.
If you can't build that bridge and put those things together,
Mhm.
you're probably. I mean, there's so many film festivals out there. It's really never been easier to like get on a project, even if it's a freebie.
Mhm.
Go into a film festival. There's so many opportunities out there. And we talked about this before, Lexi. It's like you just have to ask and put yourself, parachute
Put yourself
yourself
out there. Yeah.
into the equation, and
Mhm.
you know what? Maybe maybe somebody will say yes, or say, you know what? You really understand my pain as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll license these couple songs from you for this film festival, and
Boom.
by doing that, you're great. You just got your first foot in the door, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it really has never been easier. I don't want to say easier. There's more noise in the world, but
Yeah.
there's never been more opportunity if you
Yeah.
understand pain points and understand how to
Mhm.
help people
Mhm.
fix their problems.
Yeah. Being a creative problem solver has definitely helped me in
It's
so many ways. So when
it's
it comes to
huge
something like this, it's yeah, exactly. It's huge.
because here's the
It's a
thing,
really
Lexi.
great asset for sure.
It's they talk about the 80-20 paradigm of
Mhm.
like 20% get it, 80% are trouble. Yeah, it's really more like 95-5, because we have people every day saying, "Hey, yo, check out my SoundCloud link," and it's
Oh
like
no.
it's like you you
Not
you you
quite.
don't understand us. I
Yeah.
mean, there's
Yeah.
there's that's not how it works. But
Yeah.
if the smart person out there says, "Hey, I love what you're doing. I understand. I think I understand your business model, and I think I can help. Here's 3 ways
Mhm.
how I can help." All of a
Mhm.
sudden, guess what? You go to the top of that list, and you know people
Yeah.
respond. People want to work with people who understand them and are articulate and can help them sleep better at night. Ultimately, it's
Yeah.
like that's what we
Yeah,
do.
for sure.
Is we help filmmakers sleep better at night because
I think
there's an
that's great.
expert on the project, so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean those are a couple ways that I think rights holders, a couple things that rights holders miss, and maybe that can help them move the ball forward in a real way.
Yeah. You actually started to touch on this a little bit into
Yeah,
my next point, so I'll just jump into it. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
do want to mention before I get to that point though, for those of you watching who are hearing John say, oh, it's there's so much opportunity, you got to put yourself out there. There's ways that you can communicate to people and let them know that you can help.
Yep.
Hi, I am a prime example.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
like it is absolutely possible.
Yep.
That's literally I am sitting here today talking to you because I reached out,
Yep.
because I said, hey, I listened to your podcast, Sync Center podcast.
That's right.
Listen to it.
Yeah, that's how we.
I listened to your podcast. I thought it was really intriguing, really interesting, and it definitely spoke my language. And I
Hmm.
feel as though I can help in some way, whether that be um, me learning from you and then reciprocating that knowledge to other people, or
Yeah.
whatever it is that you think that you could have me do, or
Yeah.
whatever things that you think I could be beneficial to help you with, like, I'm all in. And that's pretty
Yeah.
much how we got here. So I
Yep.
just wanted to throw that in there as well, to just let
Absolutely.
everyone know that, like, it's not unattainable.
Yeah. That really is the new normal because there's so much noise out there that you we say you want to be asking every day.
Hmm.
You don't want to be needy. You don't want to be a
Yeah.
jerk. You don't
Yeah.
want to be naggy. But there's a
Hmm.
way to ask and say, hey, Viacom, here's the Sync Center. We
Yeah.
work with Showtime, HBO, Netflix, AT&T, Microsoft. Here's what we do. We'd love to help you. Is there a time we can talk about helping you
Hmm.
make better content? That's business development 101, and I think you
That's the
just
blueprint right there,
yeah, yeah,
for sure.
love it.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So, on the flip side of things, we
Hmm.
talked about things that people we feel as though, well, we specify with rights holders. And like
Yeah,
you said, we can totally do a whole nother episode on
yeah,
filmmakers
yeah.
and all that
This
stuff.
can go.
Definitely,
We may
this
come
could go
back.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's so many different facets of this topic. So yeah, definitely drop comments below if that's something that you'd be interested in, for sure too, because we
Hmm.
definitely want to accommodate those people. But when it comes to the other side of things, instead of things that you think people should know,
Sure.
what do you think are some things that and
For
I'll specify this one with rights holders. What do you think are some mistakes that rights holders make commonly, that you think you can help them avoid making?
on the filmmaker side,
Um,
or
I was thinking on the rights holder side,
okay,
but any side that is easiest for you to
yeah,
explain at the moment.
yeah. I think on the filmmaker side,
Yeah, we can do that.
there's filmmakers tend to wait too late. They wait till the last
Mm,
minute, like
yep,
they're
yep.
editing. They're editing their film. They shot the film. It's almost done. They're like, oh crap, we have to manage music and budgets
Mm,
and maybe a film
yes,
score.
yes.
I always tell filmmakers, not only do you want to start budgeting early, but you actually want to start working on it early because the sooner you start, the more money you
Hmm.
can save, the more the more time you can spend on
Yeah.
things. If you want to
Hmm.
do a re-record or you want to underscore a certain scene,
Right. If you run into a bump or something happens, you have that time. You're
bumps.
not cramming, trying to
That's
make everything work because you waited until the last second to start handling music or
you
whatever.
just you just hit it on the head.
Yeah.
Bumps
I've
are
experienced it. I
bumps
was
are
on that
everywhere.
end.
Bumps are everywhere, and you're going to have 200 bumps, and you got to manage those bumps in a timeline where you have time. So
Yeah.
filmmakers tend to wait.
Hmm.
So I would say start early, and really bring that music supervisor onto the project early, even if it's just in a consulting, every two or
Hmm.
3 weeks
Hmm.
meeting kind of way. So that's a big one. I would also say budget budget early. So
Hmm.
if you have say 10 scenes in your film where you have music and you're
Hmm.
trying to say your budget's 100,000 for the whole film, right? And you're trying to
Hmm.
make that 100,000 work, you really
Hmm.
have to pick your moments. So if it's a question of what's essential and what's not.
Hmm.
If you
Right.
know, like, okay, we want this song, and this song, and we have to have those three songs.
Hmm.
The other say there's 10 spots. The other seven, you know what? Maybe we'll use Lexi's Blues Jam in one of. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Exactly.
that's how you
Being able to
fix a problem.
prioritize it.
It's because like okay, we need these three, and those are going to cost 30 grand each.
Hmm.
So we have 10,000 left over. maybe we can license Lexi's song for 2,000 and make our budget. Like it's really
Exactly.
math at that point, and
Yeah.
you have to play your cards right as a new rights holder, new producer. So that's a way, as on the filmmaker side of it, managing your budget early really helps you
Mhm.
hit that budget. If your budget's
Mhm.
100K, it is what it is, right? And
Yeah.
you just kind of
Yeah.
you kind of
Got to make it work.
pick the essentials, and then you plug in lesser known music that is
And then that
awesome for Lexi's blues band because they just got
yeah.
in a Netflix
Just got a
show.
placement.
Yeah. So those are two ways for filmmakers, to really things that we see often that they miss,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
if they think about them early, it really helps them better film,
Yeah.
fits within the budget, and it just
Hmm.
allows for a little more sanity during the production
Yeah.
of the film.
Yeah. I'm so glad you touched on sanity because
Yeah.
I understand. I've worked on a few short films, documentaries, and things, just doing the music and audio side of things,
Right.
and you're so not wrong. Like the
Yes.
amount of times that I've been brought into a project very late in the game and then expected to reach these like
Pull a rabbit out of your hat.
obscene
Yeah.
deadlines, and I'm like, and for me, like this is at the beginning of my like freelancing journey of sorts.
Yeah.
I didn't know. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so to me, I'm thinking like, oh, this seems a little tight, but I guess this is just how it is. Like, and then
Yeah.
that's where the whole networking thing comes in,
Yeah.
and you being able to reach out and build those relationships. And I realized after speaking to different people who were a little more established and familiar with the process, they're like, Lexi, no, that is not
Yeah.
okay. And so it kind of all like encompasses all of those skills, is really great to encompass when bringing
Yeah.
into the sync world because it's
Yeah.
all building onto each other.
Yeah. And I tell people too, Lexi, it's like do those projects. You
Yeah.
will learn more from doing those projects than you will from reading blogs or watching YouTube
Mhm.
videos.
Mhm.
And then it informs you next go around. You're like, okay, I'm going to ask
Oh
some
yeah.
specific questions
Yep. That's
because
the one. These are the questions I need to ask.
if I don't check these three boxes, I know I'm going to be back in the shit show that I was in last year on that project because I didn't know those
Yeah.
questions. So,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
so those scars of yours are
Yeah.
are there for a
Good
reason. And
teachers.
yes, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah, experience is the best teacher for sure.
yeah,
Yeah, but thank you so much for all
yeah.
of
Of
your
course, this
great
is fun.
answers. And yeah, I love talking to you and getting to learn more about everything that goes on in your
I
world.
I
So
I love this. I think we're having a great time. We're having some great conversations here. So, great job, Lexi.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, you too. Well, for those of you watching, thank you so much for sticking around. We will be back next week with a new episode. So, like I said, be sure to drop a like down below. Give us your comments on suggestions for what you want us to talk about. And we will see you then. Thank you so much.
See you guys.
Bye. Woo. Oh, you kept in my dancing at the end of
Yeah.
the video. I thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, oh my god, that's
We
great.
can.
Woo. Woo.